I've had some people ask me how I'm able to travel so much when I have a full-time job, limited PTO, and I'm traveling on just one income. And I think the truth is I've built my life intentionally where I'm prioritizing travel, but that wasn't always the case. When I moved to Nashville 9 years ago, I was leaving a job where I had accrued so many vacation days, but I didn't take them all. And the company only paid out a certain amount. After that, you would just lose those hours. They only paid out your full amount of PTO if you were retiring, and I obviously wasn't retiring, so I only got paid out that max limit. And that was such a wake-up call when I saw that I lost all those hours that I could have actually just taken the vacation time. I mean, I used some vacation days, but I didn't take all of them for a couple of reasons. One, my job never seemed like there was a good time to take off, and that quickly led to burnout. But two, I didn't see the point of taking a vacation day just to sit at home and do nothing. And traveling just seemed like such a far off goal, like so out of reach. Like it was too expensive, couldn't find anyone to travel with because all my friends and family lived in other cities, other states, across the country. And so it just seemed like such a big, unobtainable goal to use my vacation days to travel. Flash forward to now, where I have changed my mindset to prioritize traveling. And so here are some of the habits and mindset shifts that I have implemented to help me travel more with a full-time job, with limited PTO, and on one income. So the first thing that I had to decide was that travel was important enough to budget for. So I had to create a specific line in my budget for travel. Now, most people spend their extra money on eating out, shopping, concerts, or other expensive hobbies, but I wanted to focus on traveling. So instead of eating out, I make my meals at home, which has a downside of anytime anyone's visiting Nashville and they ask me for food recommendations, besides a couple go-to places, I'm just not the one to ask for those recommendations on where to eat. So that's the downside, but I'd rather be known for traveling many different places than for awesome food recommendations in one city, even if it's the city I live in. So prioritizing financially by setting aside a line item in my budget so that I can start making moves to book travel and have the money to do that. So the next habit that I had to get into was stop picking the destination first. I feel like if you lock into one destination, then you're really limiting yourself on getting the cheapest fare that may be out there for a different destination. I signed up for the email subscription service through Going about 6 years ago, and they send flight deals, mistake fares, all to my email, and I can decide if that flight deal fits into my budget, fits into my work schedule, and can take advantage of it. I actually started traveling solo because of a flight deal that Going sent me. So it was 2021, I had opened up an email from them and they notified me of a flight deal from Nashville to Savannah, Georgia for, I believe, $39 one way. Now I was going through a breakup at the time and wanted to get out of town. That was the perfect opportunity. It was the right price and right time. So I was able to take advantage of that cheap flight. And I have been subscribed ever since. Going is actually having one of their biggest sales of the year. I'll leave a link in the description box below with a code so you can save some money on a subscription. If you want to check them out, then I'll leave that link for you in the description box. One thing I've realized is that traveling doesn't always have to involve getting on an airplane. I think taking a road trip just a couple hours away from home can be the perfect getaway to make you feel like you've explored a new place. In Tennessee, I've had some great road trips to Chattanooga, Asheville, Atlanta, Memphis, Louisville, because I'm not going to call it Louisville, Louisville. So all the different areas surrounding Nashville were just great weekend trips. And I still felt like I got away and could refresh before I went back and tackled more work. And so I think that sometimes we forget that there are so many cool places that are a quick drive from where we live. You also save money not only on airfare, baggage fees, sometimes even rental cars. So it can be more cost effective by just taking your own car and doing a little road trip. So don't be above taking a weekend road trip to someplace just a couple hours away from home. Along the same lines of a road trip is taking shorter trips. I used to think that a vacation was a 2-week long event and you saved up for it. It was just this big thing. You did it once a year. But that's not gonna help you travel more if that's the mindset that you have. Start thinking about taking weekend trips and even shorter than that. My sister and I have started doing out and back trips where we'll fly to a destination first thing in the morning, hang out at that place, and then fly back home that evening, which is kind of radical, seems kind of extreme, but it can be so much fun and save some money on travel expenses because we're just going for the day. We're not getting a hotel, so we save money there. We're often not bringing bags, maybe a small backpack just to have some things that we might need. But we're not paying any baggage fees or anything like that. And since it's only for one day, most often not taking a vacation day as well. Now, I will say, in order to get the cheapest flight, flying on a Tuesday or a Wednesday for an out and back will be the cheapest because that's typically where there's like the least amount of travelers is on Tuesday and Wednesdays, and that's the middle of the week. And therefore you would potentially have to take a vacation day. Now, I'm fortunate enough that I'm allowed to work remotely at least 2 times a week. So I will try to plan to have my remote day the day after I return from an out and back trip. That way I can sleep in a little bit, so I don't have to get up super early to commute into work. I can sleep in a little bit and kind of ease into my morning, since I had just probably walked 30,000 steps the previous day. Remembering the Chicago trip out and back that Kelly and I did 2 years ago, we literally walked 30,000 steps that day. That's including taking public transportation and not walking everywhere. So keep that in mind, is we did a lot of walking on the out and back. It can be a great opportunity to incorporate more traveling and saving some money. If you're lucky enough to have friends and family that live in far off destinations or cool places that you want to visit, then take advantage and go visit them. More often than not, they're more than willing to have you stay with them, and so you'll save money on not having to get a hotel or accommodation. Plus you have a built-in tour guide and you can see that destination through their lens. So that's another way that I've incorporated traveling more into my life, is by going and visiting my friends and family and keeping that relationship alive and going. So I'm lucky enough to have friends and family that live in some really cool places. So just making the effort to go visit them, and you can mark that city off your bucket list. It's no secret that I like to pack carry-on only. Just gives you like a lot of flexibility. You can save money on not having to pay for baggage fees now that airlines are really trying to charge you for every little thing, every little convenience you now have to pay for. I like to fly with a backpack and a carry-on suitcase. It saves me time not having to go to baggage claim. Once I get to the airport, I can just head out and get my day started. And I would say for the most part, it's less stressful until it's stressful. And when it's stressful is if you've purchased the cheapest airfare for a flight, which puts you in last boarding group. And if you've ever been to one of those boarding groups, you know what is now the norm, which is they start gate checking carry-on suitcases because they don't have enough room in the overhead bins. If you have that combination of you've purchased the cheapest flight and you're on the last boarding group and packing carry-on only, that can be kind of stressful. Like, do I gate check? But you know what? Sometimes I just don't mind gate checking my bag. And the reason why is if I'm traveling solo, carrying both my backpack and my suitcase around the airport, having to monitor it every time I need to go to the restroom, it's always with me. And restrooms are just the most awkward space, especially if you have lots of baggage. So gate check it away and free up your hands and not have to monitor it while you're just like hanging out in the airport. I'm all about that. Especially if it's an airline that's not Southwest, because I have the Southwest credit card, so I get free checked bags. But if I'm flying an airline that I don't have a credit card and therefore can't afford the baggage fees, then that's a great way to check a bag, be hands-free, and not have to pay those additional fees. So just all around, whether you're checking a bag or not, at least packing carry-on only so that you're packing and traveling with less smaller luggage, I think is just ultimately the way to go to be more flexible. Also added benefit of saving money for all those fees that add up. So I mentioned it at the beginning of this video that when I left my previous job, I just did not take that many vacation days. So I needed to change that mindset. I needed to take my PTO days. They're mine, I've earned them, I need to take them. I also needed to maximize taking PTO days, make the most out of my year. So that looks like adding on a PTO day at the ends of the weekend so that you have an extended weekend, added it on to holidays. So holidays that you may get off from work, putting a vacation day before, after, or both to extend that. On the out and back trips, like I'd mentioned, taking a PTO day for the out and back trip and coupling it with working remote. So if you're someone who's lucky enough to have some remote days, taking advantage of remote work and working elsewhere can help you take more trips if you can get some work done and be in a different destination. Maximize that PTO as much as you can. Another mindset shift is to not only travel during high season, but also look at traveling during the shoulder season, which is at the beginning or tail end of when high season is going to start. Flight prices and hotel accommodations are usually going to be cheaper. That destination's going to be less crowded. Depending on your work schedule, it may be a better time for you to take off of work. It may be at a time where you're less busy. So those are kind of things to think about is when are flights typically going to be cheaper? It's going to be when there's less demand. So shoulder season of that destination. A lot of destinations have similar shoulder seasons, but a lot of destinations have opposite shoulder seasons. What destinations' shoulder seasons are during this part of the year versus another, and making sure that you're looking at those destinations in their shoulder season. So you can make the most out of the low season where there's not a lot of tourists, so you have a little bit more breathing room, but also getting those cheap flights and cheap hotel prices to save some more money. Again, to help your budget go farther. This last mindset shift has probably changed my life the most, and that is to not wait for someone else to take the trip. Some of my most favorite memories traveling have been with friends or family, but planning, coordinating schedules, waiting for them to get back to you, aligning your budget, agreeing on where you want to go, all of that can take so much time that if I waited on other people in order to take trips, I would take fewer trips. Traveling solo, that in itself opened up so much for me to be able to take more trips. And if there are times that I want to go to a place, but I can't find anyone to go with me and I don't want to go by myself, then there are other options such as joining a group travel company. I've taken a couple and honestly, those are so much fun. I've met one of my closest friends on a group travel trip, the Rome to Barcelona, where I met Alyssa. If you've seen her on some of my vlogs, she's become one of my closest friends. I'm actually gonna go see her next month. So I wouldn't have met her or the other people I've met on these trips had I just closed off opportunities to travel and waited for my current circle of friends or family to go with me. So having an open mind and not waiting for others and just going on the trip has been, I think, the biggest mindset shift, the biggest game changer, all the cliches, but really the biggest thing that has helped me to travel more is going solo, joining a group travel company, all the things. I mean, then going with your friends and family, all of those things can allow you to still make that trip and enjoy it and have a blast. At the end of the day, it wasn't one big secret that's allowed me to travel more, but a collection of small decisions. So prioritizing saving money for travel specifically, taking advantage of cheap flights when they pop up, and signing up for an email subscription service to notify me, taking those road trips, taking small out and back trips, and not waiting for the perfect travel buddy in order to take that trip. All of those decisions allowed me to get to this point where I'm taking lots of trips. So if you want to travel more, but all of that seems like a huge lifestyle change, just take one small step at a time, break it into baby steps, and you'll eventually get to that point where you are traveling more and more. So what's one thing that you have started doing to travel more? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to learn what others are doing. And if you want to sign up for Going's email subscription service and get flight alerts sent to your email, take advantage of their sale by going to the link in my description, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao for now.